This amateur video was reportedly shot on the streets of Barza in Syria and posted on the internet as protesters mourned the deaths of pro-democracy activists allegedly killed by Syrian authorities. Another, posted on YouTube, captures what is said to be a funeral procession in the Damascus suburb of Al-Midan for a protester killed during an anti-government rally the day before. Georgetown University new media specialist Adel Iskandar says social media and citizen journalists help to rally protesters and play a huge role in documenting the unrest that is racking the Arab world.
So they do have a journalistic responsibility, a huge journalistic responsibility. In the case of Syria, where there are no journalists on the ground, this task is actually absolutely colossal because they are literally the world's eyes and ears.
Uprisings have already toppled governments in Egypt and Tunisia, with the final outcome of other protests still unclear. Courtney Raj is with Freedom House, a U.S.-based organization that monitors democratic change, human rights, and freedom. She says the high penetration of mobile phones in the Arab world is a powerful multimedia tool in the hands of activists and everyday citizens, especially since individuals in some countries have more than one cell phone.
Simply by snapping a photo or by recording a chant or taking a video of police brutality or opposition protests. And then in many cases, they are on the 3G networks and on these more advanced networks, so they can upload video and photos directly without having to go back to a computer, without risking their phone being confiscated.
Adel Iskandar says footage and photos coming out of Syria can be found on web pages, such as this one from the social media site Facebook.
So now Al Jazeera and Al Arabiya and other networks are relying exclusively on content produced by citizen journalists in Syria, and had done the same in Bahrain and in Egypt and elsewhere.
While citizen journalists are playing a big role, Courtney Raj says it's unlikely that citizen journalism will eventually replace traditional journalism.
It's not sustainable to rely on anonymous random citizens for coverage of mainstream, politics, mainstream, economic issues. They tend to focus on the fringes, on the issues that aren't getting covered by the mainstream media or holding the mainstream media to account.
Despite the power of social media, there are limits as well. During the uprisings in Egypt, the government shut down the internet. In Tunisia, authorities reportedly hacked into the Facebook accounts of individuals believed to be behind the unrest. While new media can empower citizens by connecting them to other activist networks and international journalists, there is also a downside.
At the same time, because they're public, they're also susceptible to surveillance and to manipulation by governments.
Analysts say that while the Egyptian government's shutdown of the internet did have a temporary impact, it eventually was circumvented by protests in the streets. In the end, analysts add, the shutdown cost the government an estimated $90 billion in lost trade.
In some cases, it backfires because the human will to express oneself once the ball is rolling, if you will, is so insatiable that there's really nothing you can do.
William Ide, VOA News, Washington.